Thank you for joining for another sermon recap. And this sermon was preached by Reverend Stephanie, and the title was God Cares. And her scripture was one verse. It was Psalm chapter 23, verse 4, a very familiar psalm. And it says, "Even though I walk through the darkest valley, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me." And there was one big takeaway from the message, and it was that life happens, but even though life happens, God still cares. We know that sometimes we can be in a dark valley. As King David wrote in the song, sometimes it can be the darkest valley, but we also know that we're going through it. And while we're going through that darkest valley, God is with us. We know that sometimes we may not have our family with us. We may not have friends with us. We may be in a spot longer. That darkest valley, we may have to be in there for a longer time than we were expecting, but we're not alone. God is going to be with us because He cares for us. We also know that even if our struggle is hard, even though the struggle may not be fair, even though the struggle may be something that we weren't expecting, whatever that darkest valley is for us, sometimes it's not just for our benefit, sometimes it could be a benefit for someone else. When we come through it, when we're on the other side, we may be the ones that testify of God's goodness, of how good God cares for us, and how deeply He cares for us, so that someone else, when they're in their darkest valley, can make it through, that can have that encouragement not to give up, to have that encouragement that it doesn't last always, that yes, it may be painful. Yes, you may have to cry. Yes, you may have to be more humble than you've had to be in the past. You may have to ask for assistance. There may be a time where you cry out to God because you think it's too much, but it's only for that period of time. It's not forever. You will be able to get out. And one of the other things that was brought out in the sermon was that God is working. Sometimes He may not be talking, He may not be answering our questions while we're in that valley, but He is working. He's working things out for our good. So we can take heart knowing that God cares for us. Even if we're in the darkest valley, He cares. Amen.